What's up, dudes? Welcome on in to See Ball, Get Ball. And I think we're going to jump right in because this is what we do. And just talking about, like, I'm interested to see what I've learned throughout college football. Like, we're at the halfway point, and now, so I'm going to bring in Wes and Brent at the end of this. And I'm going to lay out a bunch of things I learned, and I want to hear what I've missed or something maybe even that stuck out. But here's my list. So I've learned that Arch Manning is not going to win a Heisman. And I want y'all to debunk this too, if there's any of this that you don't agree with. Arch isn't going to win a Heisman. The best three quarterbacks in the SEC are not named Manning, Nussmeier, Lagway, or Sellers, which is crazy. Clemson isn't winning a national championship. I think everybody agrees with that. Penn State still can't beat a top 5 team. Ohio State and Oregon just reload and remain the class in the Big Ten. Georgia still can't beat Bama. OU is the most improved team in the country and made the best investments in the offseason when it comes to OC-DC. Indiana, Vandy, and Ole Miss, they ain't going nowhere. LSU's defense is real. It's back. It's good to see. Tennessee does not miss Nico. The ACC has several contenders, which is probably pretty surprising to all of us. And I'm adding Louisville, Miami, FSU, Georgia Tech, Virginia, and none of them are named Clemson or SMU, who played for the title a year ago. So, boys, that's what I have learned halfway through the season. Tell me what I missed. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you do like. The chat obviously is going to let us know a lot about what we feel and how we feel. But, Brent, what stuck out, homie G?
What stuck out is that you admitted that Clemson is not winning the national championship.
Yes.
Your all-in tattoo was a farce. It was just you wish it didn't happen.
No. It wasn't a farce. It was, what's that ink called? That other ink?
That
not
comes
the,
off.
It's not the tattoo, but it's like the.
I have no idea.
What's that? It's the one that goes away. You know, like it wasn't a permanent tattoo, Brent.
Yeah, it was a good thing that it wasn't permanent. But I think Oregon and Ohio State being the class of the Big Ten, I would even potentially, and I've said this a couple times, Ohio State maybe even 2, 3 notch. Like, to me, I look at this as, if Ohio State doesn't win the whole thing, it's going to be like, because they've just been on cruise control in these games, I think, offensively. He's just kind of, hey, I'm just going to ease my QB into it, that sort of thing. But Miami, and we're going to learn a lot about Miami this week, I think, because that environment that they're going into is going to be insane on Saturday night. But
yep. And
it's a first kind of true, really road game for them. So that will be.
So basically, you're
agreeing
with everything I said.
I mean, I don't think you missed anything. No.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot to get, but I think if you'd asked me who the most surprising part of that would have been, does anybody imagine that Nussmeier, Manning, Lagway, and Sellers, they weren't going to be, none of those 4 would be the best quarterbacks in the SEC. That's kind of crazy to me. That's probably, and that Trinidad Chambliss was going to be one of the top 3, because he is, if you don't realize it. I think we're going to find out this week who the best quarterback in the SEC is, because Ty Simpson and Pavia can go battle that out. They're both insane. And you've seen it for Ty Simpson now 3 weeks in a row. I mean, it's been impressive. The last 3 games, 3-0, over 77%, almost 900 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 0 takeaways. And I think the line has shown you that it's pretty good. It's not elite, but he knows how to get rid of the football. He knows when to scramble. That's probably the best part so far, not committing a turnover. And then Pavia with 400 yards and 6 touchdowns last week. And what he does, obviously, is Trinidad, 314 against LSU, 71 rush. That's just crazy to me. But if you're talking about, Klubnik and all the hyped guys before the season, then we just mentioned, Arch and Lagway. Interesting, who bounces back first? And I think Klubnik has a real opportunity this week, man. Like, you're playing North Carolina. Like, you've got to bounce back. Like, talking about a preseason miss, like me on North Carolina, saying they were going to win, 7 or 8 games because of their schedule. Like, they have been ungood, very ungood. And listen, I know there's all the things that are going on with Bill, and maybe the 20-something-year-old is an issue, and the atmosphere and all the stuff that goes into it. And maybe it's just learning college football, because that happens. You're going to have to learn. But we have seen more with NFL coaches coming down and having success. That's not a surprise. So Bill doing it, though, in his 70s, being one of the most winningest coaches, ever to do it was pretty surprising that he's been ungood, very ungood. But I expect Klubnik to bounce back this week too. Interested to watch Arch, because he finally went without a turnover, and I think Arch against Florida has a chance to, after the bye week, to decompress. I think we'll see a good version of Arch. I think we'll see the best version of him continue. I think he'll continue to grow and get better. I don't see it with Lagway, man. I don't see that offense bouncing back. What it's been relegated to become, it's just hard. And obviously they face off this week, which I think is really, really cool, and we'll get to see that. But it's a great topic. It's awesome. Brent, what were you thinking about that? Like, you over there had something to say about the bounce back and who it would be?
Well, the first off is, if we're taking early victory laps, I'm going to take an early victory lap on Belichick. You were like, oh, yeah, let's go. And I said, he didn't pick players very well. That was his problem, and he hasn't done that well to
well, he wasn't picking the players. He's got a general manager now, which is the first time he's ever had that. But, yes, I got you.
I do agree with Klubnik that he should get back on track, because I actually want to see him because of what Clemson can be. Because Clemson can be big-time spoiler now, the rest of their schedule. They've got SMU at home, Duke at home, FSU at home, at Louisville. And you never know. Maybe the ACC is a lot closer than you think, and they can somehow get back in the fight. But that's one I want to see. But if you're picking between Arch and Lagway, who has success, I'm going to go Arch in this game, because despite Florida playing really good defense all year, they're last in the Power Four in sack rate and pressure rate. So Arch should be
been banged up like crazy too.
Should be nice and comfortable, and if he's not, then okay, and then Florida's done a little fixing on the bye week.
Well, and even that, just showing the ability to be consistent with his reads, going through it, not rushing. Going back and watching our boy from Penn State, man, Aller is too quick to get off of his first read. He needs to do a better job of settling his feet and calming down. The Gators are beating Texas in the chat. Canes, Cats, Heat. I see you. I think that can happen. I could see a world where that could happen. But the problem is, man, both had bye weeks in Florida's offense. What they are, I understand what you're saying. I think the game could be close, but I don't see it. RJ, we see you in the chat, brother. Why isn't the D-line at UGA getting any push, or does our D-line need another year? A lot of guys that are struggling to win one-on-one battles, and guys that have to develop, guys that have to get better with their hands, guys that have to learn to rush the passer, man. Like, the thing about rushing the passer that's really cool and really frustrating is it takes time to figure out, like, who you are and what you are as a pass rusher. Like, I was very good with my hands, with winning with my first step, but then I had to learn the counter move to it. So it's both of it. Like, it's both together, but it's experience, it's reps. So there's a ton of youth, man. We're not used to seeing this with Georgia's line. Like, you're just not used to seeing so many guys with inexperience that are developing. And so it will come around, I think. But next we're going to get to a little food poisoning, a little USC food poisoning. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm completely buying this. USC being sick, missing guys, left and right. Also with the injuries, I do think they were sick. I do think they were down their best safety. Obviously, the front, the offensive line too was down. So I do think this is true. But Lane is, or not, gosh, I always say Lane, by the way. Lane Kiffin. It's not Lane Kiffin, bro. Like, It's Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley kind of talked about it, and they say like not using it as an excuse, but I'm interested to watch USC get healthy because they were missing so many guys. They still got so much talent. They're still going to be interested. It brings me back to Brent, my most amazing moment that I saw on a football field, and you might have a good one off the top of your head too, but like first game of the season against the Clemson Tigers, and we go up to the line, and as we go to the line, they're going through their cadence. The center gets in his stance and then literally yaks all over the football. Like yaks all over the football. Like it was absolutely disgusting. I felt so bad for the quarterback who had to touch it. Like he had to do it. Like that is unbelievably awful. And I felt bad for the guy. Like, but it really was just kind of gross, kind of disgusting, not something that you ever want to be a part of, but there was chunks on the football. And you see it in practice all the time. And I know this is gross for a lot of you people. You people don't understand, like a lot of people that didn't play, like there is so much of that in practice. There's so many people that are yakking. There's so much of off to the side, like stomach upset, people get overheated. It's crazy to think about it, but it is nuts. But we got that the opening game against Clemson, and they zoomed in on it. They replayed it, which I'm not sure everybody in the world loved, but it was a real thing. It was pretty disgusting. But I think USC has a chance to prove them wrong. And listen, we did Something's Brewing last week, right? Like, and me and Brent both think USC's really good. I think they have a chance if they can get healthy. They can still make some noise. They can still play spoiler. Their defense has to get better, specifically at corner, specifically in the inside. But their offense is going to score. Their offense is going to be more balanced than they were a week ago when they get healthier, because they got a great running back. They got great receivers too when Lane comes back as well. So there's a lot to like. All right, so let's get to Podium Kings. And I think when you start with Podium Kings, we got a really special one for you. We got Rece Davis coming up in a few, the silky smooth sounds of Rece Davis. But, we'll start with Podium King. We'll start with Dan Lanning after the Penn State game. You've heard us reference this, but take a gander at old Dan Lanning.
Our team, man, special, man, special.
Just look at that face.
I think
just look at that face, Wes.
Dan's face than it is about his soundbite, David.
Yes!
He is the college Dan Campbell. You can't tell me that guy wouldn't have eaten a kneecap just then.
He absolutely would. Like, he is that definition. Like, and if you're doing the cage match thing, I know he's not the biggest, but if we did the college football coaching cage match, I'm not sure I'm betting against that guy in that stare. He's definitely going to have the best stare down. That's for sure.
I saw him go toe-to-toe with Nolan Smith when he was at Georgia, and he looked like he was ready to go. All right, next one, Lane Kiffin, winning the week, as Brent said. Here you go after that big win over the Bayou Bengals.
We believe in our players. We go for it on fourth down a lot, and glad they made plays. I'm looking for Witt right now to see if we covered over.
Only Witt, and when we need to get to when Rece, we'll ask him about that, because I think Lane's the only one that can say that. We'll have to ask him if he knows another coach that's willing to say that. And this is the best one, Wes. Like, so Rece Davis, make sure, because I see you in the room now. We're going to pull you up in a minute, but I want to make sure, Rece, that you see this one, this Podium King, because you're going to absolutely love it.
I think we're pulling him up right now, DP.
Hello, I'm Rece Davis, and welcome to this ESPN Classic special presentation of the USFL, featuring the Memphis Showboats and the Los Angeles Express from April of 1984. I'm Rece Davis. Thank you for watching ESPN Classic.
Hands together for Mr. Rece Davis.
Why did you speed it up to 1.5? I sure hope you sped it up just a little bit.
That was normal speed. What are you talking about, Rece? Hey, since that, how old were you in that moment? You think, Rece? Guess.
I'm going to guess. I was 29 when I got to ESPN. Started doing SportsCenter when I was 30, probably 31, something like that.
Okay, I was just wondering if you'd hit puberty yet. So that you debunked that. I was wondering if
no,
those.
But the answer to that is probably no. Probably no.
All right, RD. Well, man, thank you so much for having me. We got to first talk about the daughter's wedding, because that was absolutely fantastic. It was good to see you. It was good to see so many friends from game day. And I would just like to say you're welcome. Like, not because I was attending, that has nothing to do with it. But Rece, like, you spent all that money to make one of the greatest weddings ever. And I didn't waste any steak for you. I was going around to all the tables, making sure that all the steak got eaten.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I saw people leaving food on the plate. There was so much cake. You know what? I know you don't like wedding cake or any cake.
No.
But they told my wife, because this cake is amazing. There's a woman, David, she was born in Vietnam. She went to school in Oklahoma, and then she went to Paris to train to do this. We just stumbled across her. She has a tiny little bakery in Simsbury, Connecticut. And they wouldn't send the wedding cake home with us. Everything else, they sent some leftovers. They said, nope, we don't do that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
They just took it home?
I don't know. I guess they threw it away. I hope the staff at least ate it, something. But no,
I feel like if you paid for that, you get it.
I know. That's what I would think. That seems
you should file a lawsuit.
And thank you for dressing up too.
You're welcome. Hey, I did say I told everybody there. You were obviously busy with your daughter and she was a beautiful bride. The wedding was unbelievable. I told everybody, I was like, listen, once I got canned from ESPN, that's the last time I'm putting on a suit ever again. I'm not putting on a suit again, and I lived true to my word. But I did not wear a like bright red T-shirt or anything like that.
You look great. I told somebody there's another friend of mine. We had our picture taken together. Guys that I call my mat carriers, but I know that's a different podcast. But I am on him all the time because he introduced me at a speaking engagement. He asked me, he said, "How are you going to dress?" And I said, "Just casual." He showed up in like some, quarter zip, like, some Nike thing or something. And I was like, Johnny, I just meant I wasn't wearing a tie. I got on a sport coat and stuff. So I was like, whatever you do, you cannot wear a quarter zip to the wedding.
You gotta clarify casual. Casual for some people are different than others. But I do want to tell the suit, the lining of the suit was pretty impressive. Like we had a bet at the table with Desmond Howard and all of us. We were betting the over under on Rece's speech on how fast he cried. I took the over and completely crushed it because I said Rece is going to come in with humor. He's good. He knows if he starts touching emotional topics, it's over. He's going to cry like a baby. I was like, he's done this before. Mm-hmm. But to give y'all the ultimate experience, he did the scene set at the wedding like he does on College Game Day, and it was absolutely fantastic. Like it was unbelievable wedding. Obviously, it was awesome to be a part of and to watch Liz. She was beautiful. And, she's got a stud of a dude, too. But much as we love talking about that.
He's a great dude. He'd talk Colorado football all day. Did you see the Buffs logo on his wedding cake or on the groom's cake?
That's amazing. He's a diehard Buffaloes fan. Listen, that's great. Like that's the part of football that you can't, even when you lose a bunch, like to get that out of you, it shouldn't come out. Like
his parents went there. Dad's a booster. I probably should tell this story when Mel Tucker slipped out of town, and went to Michigan State. If you remember, Ross Dellinger, who wrote for Sports Illustrated, wrote a story about Mel leaving and going to Michigan State. And the title of the article was, "We Were Hoodwinked." The man who said that was Nate's father. Because Nate's father, is in those Colorado booster circles, and he was like, he sat there and told us he wasn't going, then he did, and so anyway, their college football affiliation runs pretty deep.
Yeah, and that was a significant pay raise for Mel Tucker.
So it was.
It's hard to knock him. All right, Rece, we're about halfway through the season. What have you learned halfway through this college football season?
I'm not sure there's a dominant team. They're really good ones. I think at the moment, Miami deserves to be number one, and they might well be the best team. But Ohio State was really impressive Saturday. Now, I didn't, because of what you just mentioned, what we talked about, I didn't watch the game until this morning. I knew what had happened, but I went back and watched the game this morning. And they were just terrific. They're terrific defensively. And I think Saban's going to keep getting better, and everybody knows the weapons. But I'm not sure that either of those teams really head and shoulders above everybody else. I think Oregon's really good too. So I think that's the number one thing. And I think the other thing I've learned, David, is I think we're going to have some 3-loss teams in the playoff. and I know we're going to have several 2-loss teams.
Yeah. Have you changed your mind? Like I think my mind's kind of shifting a little bit this direction. I was looking at the SEC and I'm like, clearly the best conference, top to bottom, so many challengers.
Mm-hmm.
Now I kind of feel a little bit differently about that. I'm not sure there's a dominant team. I can find a couple. You already mentioned Oregon and Ohio State. I think I can find a couple in the Big Ten, but who's the best team in the SEC?
I don't know. It might be. Look, I know Ole Miss is going to get mad at me because a couple of weeks ago I still didn't have them ranked, and because I just, I was skeptical about them going into the season. I saw them when I watched them play Arkansas. I thought they were fortunate to get out of there with that one. But you know what? They're getting better and better. They're certainly always dangerous. Lane's an unbelievable, offensive coach. And I think Chambliss has, I know Austin Simmons is their guy and I know what he says. And I keep looking at this guy and he throws for 3 bills and runs for 100 every week and we're close to it. But it might be A&M. It might be Ole Miss. I don't know. I thought it was LSU for a while. It's clearly not them. So I think we might be very similar to last year, David, in that there are capable teams in the SEC. There are teams that can win the national championship there, but I don't know that there are dominant elite teams in there. There just might be teams that can figure out ways to win big games.
Well, and we've wanted that for years.
Yeah.
Like every fan base has been talking about that. Like, I'm tired of watching this and I'm tired of watching that. And now we finally got it. Like, we've got the parity. So the great Rece Davis joins us here on See Ball, Get Ball. What's one thing that we aren't talking about enough? Like, what's one thing in the sport that, because I know you're doing the prep every week and you're always looking for stuff to uncover and things to talk about and things that people aren't talking about. Is there anything that's sticking out with you that, like, this needs to be talked about more?
I would almost say, and I'm not just trying to spread the wealth, but I think it might be that even though they lost at Mississippi State, that a team like Arizona State, a team like Texas Tech, might not be far off from being a contender. Maybe we're not paying quite enough attention to the Big 12. I mean, Texas Tech has played one game for all intents and purposes. The other ones.
They did slap Utah, though.
They did. I mean, that was a dominant performance, too. We've got a little bit of a film room jinx going with Nick's film room thing that we do. We showed Devin Dampier, and then we showed Damon Williams, and they both got bottled up pretty good immediately afterwards. So I think maybe it's that, and if we are in a season in which a lot of different teams could win, then maybe it's one of those teams from a little bit off the radar. We're probably still, even after what they did to Illinois, underappreciating Indiana. I mean, if one of these quote unquote big time programs, if I don't, these guys have coaches, I don't want to act as if I'm calling for jobs, but if there's a big job that opens someplace, perceived big job, why would you just not go and see if Kirk Cignetti would take the job? I don't care that he's 64. Coaches generally aren't staying for 15 years anymore anyway. So try to get 6-7 really good years and have it in good shape. Google him. He's going to win, so that's what I would do. Right.
Well,
am I wrong? You disagree with me or not?
No, I don't disagree with you. And he can also bring his whole roster from Indiana like he did with James Madison, which would help. But
the other thing is he might not want to do it. I mean, I think with the way the sport is right now, you can win a lot of places. For instance, I don't think it's some foregone conclusion that if, the job everybody's talking about, they offer it to Lane Kiffin. Why would he take that job? I mean, they screwed themselves up last year. They should have been in the playoff last year. It was nothing about, Ole Miss's money or commitment or players that kept them out. They screwed up a couple of games.
I think there's also something too, man. Like when you get to bring in a guy that you bring in a guy like Cignetti, instant also cachet. Like because he's gonna be fun because he's a quote machine. Like he's gonna say the entertaining stuff. He's gonna take shots, take swipes, which who doesn't love that? Like I love a coach that's gonna have a little bit of a backbone. I'm good with that.
I am too. And I've got your answer from your Podium Kings for just a second. You said who else beside Lane could get away with that? I've got one for you. Fran Brown.
Cignetti and Fran Brown.
Yeah, he too. Yeah.
Yes.
I love Fran, man. He's great.
Is Lane Kiffin, like you watch him and you watch him, first of all, I'm sure you watched the special and it was fantastic. Like loved watching that, loved seeing that. Like, and it's been fun, Rece, to see a kid grow up in front of us. Cause that's what he was, man. Like to have that, but like now you watch him and he's winning the portal, you know, like he has that, he's adjusted to college football and what it is. So you think it's about him adjusting more than growing as a coach, or is it a combination of both?
He's probably a combination of both. And I think when you hear Lane talk about things that are important to him that he had put at risk through his own decisions that he has seemingly rectified, that makes you feel better about things for him than anything else. I mean, that's a wonderful thing because it's the thing that lasts. So I do think a lot of it is just maturity. A lot of it's growing up. A lot of, you know, hey, look, man, we're all, except you're the only one not aging. The rest of us are getting older. And, you know, so maybe it's just something that comes along with age. But I'm very happy to see. Now, he's always been entertaining. He's never, what did they call him in his family when he was a kid? I think they called him the helicopter because he would come in and, you know, stir everything up and kick up all the dirt. So he's always going to have that quality. And as you mentioned, we love that. It's fun. You know, it's
awesome.
It makes it gives us something to talk about. He knows that. He's great content. So it's, you know, he's never going to lose that. But I think some of the things that were beyond the pale seem to be a thing of the past. And that's probably good for him, good for Ole Miss, and, you know, good for everybody associated with it.
Yeah, and if you didn't see the documentary, what you missed was one of my favorite moments was just what Rece just said. Jeff Tedford made them all wear knee braces, and Lane took his knee brace off because he's like, screw this, I'm not getting reps. So coach, like, kick rocks. And Tedford like went and had a talk with him. They go in the back, and then he comes out for the team pictures, and homeboy has a polo on. He's no longer a player because obviously Derek Carr had joined the mix, and he was clearly going to be the guy. And Lane's like, all right, screw it, forget this. I'll go move on. I'll go be a coach. Like, that is one of the coolest stories that I've ever heard. That's your helicopter right there, just walking in, like, stirring it up. I'm not wearing a knee brace, forget you, and then leaving. Like, that's how Lane used to be. But let's get some other teams too, man. What do you feel about A&M? They're obviously ranked high. You know, Gigham's got a chance to continue to grow. The weapons have been pretty daggum crazy. I mean, they've been really good. So, but what do you think about the Aggies so far? And are you buying some staying power? Are you looking them to make the playoffs? Like, how do you feel about the Aggies?
I am buying some staying power with them, but I still want to see some more from Marcel Reed. Now, I know the numbers look great, but I'm talking about down the field. What they've been great at, Craver, Concepcion, they've been great at yards after the catch.
So
downfield's a little bit more, you know, a little bit more suspect. But I've got high regard for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's really good. You go in there, you win the game the way they did. I think it builds confidence. So I do buy A&M. They've got a lot of guys back. I think people sort of overlooked that in the off season through all of the Arch Manning craze and people Texas returned on defense and you know, and Georgia, and is Alabama better and all of this in terms of the SEC. I mean, and you sort of overlooked the fact that A&M had a lot of dudes back, especially the big fellas, and then they really supplemented them with guys out of the portal. They've given them some explosive capabilities on the outside.
Guys that can run. Speaking of explosive capabilities, you work with Nick now, and I want to know who told him about putting the white suit on. Was that? I want to know how that went and how Coach took that. Was it in stride? He was good with it, or nobody tells me what to wear.
No. Here's what happened. So our coordinating producer, Matt Garrett, has this idea, and he calls me, and I said, yeah, I'm in. And Matt, to his credit, was like, everybody has to be in. Everybody bring a backup suit. And they fitted us. Those were new suits that haberdashery and State College came up with. It's up in my closet now. Maybe I'll find an occasion to wear it again someday. But
I can't imagine. First of all, I can't imagine like how you felt putting a normal suit on, because Mr. Rece Davis putting on a suit that is off the rack, not custom, not nice and silky. Did you kind of feel like a D lineman like me a little bit?
I felt like I was either about to put somebody 6 feet under, or I was about to serve the appetizers. One of the two. I was either about to lower a casket in the ground, or I was going to say, "Would you like some crudité?" Or something.
I thought you were going to sing some Backstreet Boys to me. That's what I thought you were going to do.
It could have been that. There were some memes that said that. But anyway, what happened was, so Garrett goes, "Well, I'm going to call Nick," and so he calls him, and fortunately for us and the entire bit, which was, I think, pretty well received, Miss Terry and Kristen happened to be there, and they thought it was a splendid idea. So they got Nick on board, and then off we go.
Happy wife, happy life. Exactly. Amazing. It's very, very simple. What do you think about Pavia this week, man? I've seen I'll be interested too with the film room if y'all do something like this, because that offense is one of the biggest pains in the arse. Like they do such a good job of reading different defenders and putting you in conflict all the time. It's literally like plugging a dike. Now listen, they don't have the most smashed guys up front that are going to hammer you and the most talent, but stopping Pavia, like Bama, obviously off of a big win. Georgia's a huge rival, like now coming. I think obviously Vanderbilt has their attention, but is Pavia about to meet a big test and not respond, and Vanderbilt going to come back down to earth, or do you think Vandy's got some staying power and they're going to go blow for blow?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, because one of the things that Alabama has struggled with, and everybody's going to say running quarterbacks, but Alabama's tackle percentage, you get in those deep stats in terms of number of tackles made and opportunities for tackles, is just about 80%. That ranks like 112th in the country. That's a bad recipe with that guy. They've also given up some scramble yards. Now, Diego hasn't run as much as you've seen this year. He hasn't had to. Nope. I think Alabama suspects that there are some wrinkles awaiting them. I do think one of the things, I think Alabama might have gotten a little cute last year. And cute's the wrong word. They might have tried too hard to scheme it up because they knew it was difficult to stop. And I think they got their guys playing slow and unsure. But they missed 10 tackles in the game last year, and 4 of them were on Pavia. So I think that's the biggest key to me. When you have a chance to get him on the ground, do you get him on the ground? Because they're not great in run defense. They don't have those big guys that they've had to shut down a conventional running game, let alone one that is as creative as Vanderbilt's. Now, I think Alabama's a better team. I think that they will be in a better mental space than they were because they're in the same place. They've beaten Georgia last year in a hard fought, blow for blow, wild, emotional game. So they're in the same spot there, but I do think that they'll be in a better mental place against them, but that doesn't guarantee them much. Vanderbilt's good. And the thing that we talk a lot about Bama, David, think about what's at stake for Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt wins this game, first of all, side note, they're bowl eligible. And instead of throwing a parade down Broad Street, which they've always done when Vanderbilt's become bowl eligible, like, yeah, whatever, we're trying to go to the playoff. We're trying to win the SEC. Now, do I think they're going to win the SEC? Probably not. But if they beat Alabama Saturday, they're in it. I mean, you've got to contend with them, and they're certainly, I think they're certainly a playoff contender if they win this game Saturday. And maybe anyway. It's not like they're going to cancel the season if they lose the game, but I think they will certainly announce that they're in the mix if they were to win Saturday.
Well, and before last year, they were 0-60 against top 5 teams.
Right.
Like I'm not. That's pretty good history. That's pretty good numbers.
And even though I grew up there, went to school there, know a lot about the history, I learned something about Alabama football today that I did not know.
That?
You know what the worst loss in Alabama history is?
By points?
By score, yes.
Vanderbilt by
78 to nothing.
Ooh. Gow. What year was that? Like 1912?
I think I got to look at my notes. I think it was like 1906 or something like that. And the
Dang,
little
so you were
note-
only 6 years old at that time? That's
I
amazing.
never should have said that. I know better than that. I know better than that. The funny thing about that game is that, at least what I read today, was that, yeah, it was 1906, that Alabama tried to reschedule the game because it said 7 of their 11 players. Now, I don't know if that meant they had to go recruit other guys off campus or, substitution rules were different. So it's 7 of their 11 players hurt. So they were like, hey, could we play later? And Vanderbilt's like, yeah, no, we'll just come beat you 78-0 instead. So,
yeah, you're holding that L and liking it,
Yeah,
and we're going to use
right.
that for years to come. Hey, the great Rece Davis joins us. We did this thing the other day, and we do a deep dive on different teams, and we did it on Oregon. And I'll be curious to ask your answer to this question. Who would you take in all of college football right now, take age into account, everything? Who would you take over Dan Lanning? That means, you know what that means,
Yeah,
ladies and
probably.
gentlemen? That means we asked a pretty good question. If
Yeah.
Rece Davis just went, huh.
Yeah, taking everything into account.
Yeah,
age,
you have to take the
Yeah.
ages into
Yeah.
account because obviously he's a younger guy, but you can take whatever you want into account and tell me that you're taking who over Dan Lanning.
Yeah. There are some that, I would think are maybe his equal. He hasn't beaten DeBoer. He's 0-2 against him, but he'd be right at the top of the list, David. It'd be very hard with the way he understands, the way he connects with players, and the way he understands the bigger picture of college football right now with, acquiring talent. He'd probably have to be right at the top of the list.
So,
Although the guy in Athens, the reports of the demise of the guy in Athens has been greatly exaggerated.
okay,
He's
so
fine.
okay, all right. So I got another question for you then.
Okay.
If that's the case, is Georgia more likely to go 10-2 or 8-4?
10-2. They're Georgia. Right now, after having that loss that I didn't think they would have, probably right in the middle is where they'll land, is my guess.
Yes.
But
I
maybe
agree
not.
too.
But maybe not. But if you tell me, are they going to lose 3 more or 1 more? I'm going to say 1 more.
Yeah, I think it's, and we talked about it going into the season, man. I just who were the All-Americans on defense? Who were those guys that because you've been able to take your hat and go, I'm going to hang my hat on this guy, this guy, to rush the passer, to dominate the line of scrimmage. And man, they got 4 sacks in 4 games. And wait a minute. Yep, Ty Simpson just had more time to throw the football and just completed another pass on 3rd down. How do they fix that? I like what I'm seeing from Gunner. I like the running game, but defensively, man, it's just so not what I'm. And listen, take away the greatest defensive stretch probably in the history that will never happen again. And if NIL was in that era, it would have never continued. There would have been guys going all over the place. But
that Georgia defense won the Super Bowl last year, basically.
pretty much.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, so it's I think they're fine, but that is an era of spoiled defenders, guys who could wreck games. I remember when that great Tennessee team with Hendon Hooker came down there and played, even a guy who didn't have the accolades and didn't, have the accolades the other guys had. I remember watching Nazir Stackhouse basically wreck the game for Tennessee. He was like, okay, my turn here. And, he was terrific that day. I thought, after watching that, he's going to be, ultra elite. He's still a really good player. I'm not trying to say he wasn't, but, he didn't probably do what, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, people like that did.
No, there's no doubt. What's fun to watch is it's fun to watch the parity. I love it. It makes it more fun to cover week in and week out. It's not just the spreads used to be asinine, right? It used to be like crap. The Vandy Alabama game used to be all right, Najee Harris is going to rush for over 300. That was literally kind of how you thought about, like, they were going to ground and pound to a nub and they would not be able to. Vandy couldn't move the football. And, now all of a sudden, man, it's kind of fun. We get to talk about more teams, which is awesome because there's so many teams that are still in this thing. And that's, more cities, more like, did you ever think you'd do a Vanderbilt at Bama college game day?
No.
I mean,
Never. Yeah.
that was never that wasn't on the bingo card at any point.
No. I mean, I think the show's been there one time, like in 2008, and they played Auburn and they won that game, but they've been off the radar, been so bad for so long. And then I give Clark Lee credit. You were talking about the Kiffin special. If you watch the SEC special too, in the Vanderbilt episode, I mean, you couldn't help but be impressed with what he's built, and also the wisdom to innovate and bring Tim Beck and Diego Pavia in and Jerry Kill and change the way he had done things, realizing you have to be a little bit different at Vanderbilt. And they've caught lightning in a bottle a little bit with Diego, because it's not just the system. You also have this guy who just sort of is a swashbuckling kind of quarterback that enjoys that stage, and it's really worked for them. And I think they're really, really good. Do I think they're going to win the SEC? I don't, but I think they might have a say in who does before it's over.
And just imagine, like, what could have been for Auburn, because Auburn lost to New Mexico State and Diego Pavia. Think if Auburn went in there and grabbed Diego and had Diego the last 2 years with that run game, like with those receivers, with that defense, like that could have been something pretty special. Like that might have changed Auburn's folks' minds if that happened. Last thing, Rece, and I'll get you out of here. I want to know what your first job was. Like the first job you had that you like, okay, I can do this, how this started to get you to where you're at.
Oh, you mean TV job? You're not talking about you're not talking about when I was washing 18 wheelers for Weyerhaeuser. You're not talking about.
I just can't. I don't believe for a second you did that.
I absolutely did that.
Did you in Muscle Shoals, Alabama? That's what.
People this guy this guy who worked for them had a contract with them, and on Saturdays, his stepson and I would go up there and we wash those trucks. You make a little folding money, a little bit.
Now that would be like that would not. Yeah. Anyways.
The first job I had was at the CBS affiliate in Tuscaloosa. Now that's way different from knowing that I could do it. I think probably I gained some confidence in Columbus, Georgia, because I was there for a really long time, but I couldn't get out. So when I really felt like I might have something going was when I went to Flint. Now I had confidence in Columbus, but when you aren't getting any sniff at all to go up the ladder, and you're sending out hundreds of tapes and not hearing anything, you question yourself a little bit. And I might have told you this story before, but when I went to Flint, I walked into the news director's office a couple of weeks after I'd been there. And I said, "Why did you hire me?" And he said, "What?" And I said, "I've been trying to move up forever. Couldn't get a sniff. Why did you hire me?" And he said, "Your station and the technical quality had some issues." He said, "And obviously, it's a subjective business." He said, "But we actually watched your tape and thought, okay, what's he going to look like on our set? What's he going to sound like? And what are his stories going to look like with our photographers and our editors?" And he said, that was why. And I was there. I refer to him, his name is Jim Bleicher. I refer to him as the man who saved my career. I actually spent an afternoon with him this summer. He and his wife came over and joined Lee and me. We went to one of Christopher's baseball games in Joliet, Illinois. He lives in Chicago now. And so, but he's the guy who saved my career. And I think when he hired me and things went well in Flint, that was when I decided I knew that I could do this for sure.
That's Flint, Michigan, right?
Flint, Michigan.
Yeah. Like that. It's just so awesome. Again, another story, another week for us here. And just to watch, like, people believe in you before you believe in you. And then what that leads to. And it just takes one. It just takes one person. And you spent out those tapes. Like nowadays, obviously those wouldn't be tapes. Now you'd be sending like digital copies out, but you were probably you were sending the legit tapes, weren't you?
Yeah, I was getting like legit. And well, that was another problem too, because our station in Columbus was on 3/4-inch tapes, and most of the rest of the free world was on beta by then. So there's a possibility they're like, this guy works at a station with 3/4-inch tapes. Whoop, and threw it right out. But so I don't know.
He's out of here right away. All right, Rece. Well, you're a great friend. You're great at what you do. Look forward to watching you this weekend. Obviously, I'm sure you'll have something up your sleeves with Vandy and Alabama that will be fun and unique and cool. But we appreciate your time, big homie, like always.
Yeah, feelings mutual, man. It was a special weekend, made even better because the Pollacks were with us. We appreciate you guys coming up, man.
All right. Appreciate you, big homie. Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Peace. Well, he's one of a kind, man. That dude is exactly what you see is what you get. Just, unbelievable at what he does. It was a great show. It was fun to catch up, fun to talk about all the things we've learned about college football. We appreciate all you guys joining us, to liking, to rating, to subscribing, to continue to follow, to continue to watch us on YouTube, all that stuff, man. It's such a blessing to continue to grow. You guys are the reason that we continue to grow, and we will definitely see you here Saturday night for the recap. And not as many good games this week, but it will still be fun, and we'll see y'all soon. Appreciate it.